Hello everyone, welcome to my review of the ATOTO S8 Ultra head unit. It's an Android head unit. I've just installed it a couple of days ago. It looks very good. And it's also replacing my ATOTO A6 Pro, so I'm already familiar with the brand. And I was very satisfied with the old A6 Pro. It was a great head unit. It did everything that I wanted it to. But the main issue that I had was that it was actually very slow. I mean, like installing applications or updates would take up to 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, whereas this one just clears the job in under 2-3 minutes, depending on your internet connection, that is. So yeah, let's have a look at it. This is the front panel of it. Obviously it's got a microphone, it's got a SD card slot, which can read up to 512 gigabytes of SD card, so that's a great one. Myself, I got a 256 gigabyte SD card with all my music and things on it. It's got an auxiliary I'm sorry, I'm Dutch, so don't mind the English. Auxiliary port, and this one's very great. This is the gesture sensor. On my old ATOTO A6 I didn't have that one. I had a USB port at the front, but I wanted to get the Ultra because it has some features that I will come to later, which interested me. So I got the gesture sensor on it. Works great. I will show it in a minute. The reset button, should the device freeze or anything like that, with a little paper clip you can press the button, which is here in this little hole in here. Then we've got great tactile buttons. Obviously this one's to mute, unmute, or turn on, turn off the device. Volume down, volume up, the logo obviously. This is the reverse, this is forward, and this is to go back to the home screen. So if you're in an app and you just press that and it goes back to the home screen. With the S8 Ultra I also got this little device, which is the steering wheel control of the ATOTO. It's connected through infrared, which I've got a little device at the back of the unit which communicates with this one, or this one communicates with the unit, whatever you want. And that is because I just wanted a quick way of having steering wheel controls, because as you can see, this is actually a Fiat Croma, not a very familiar sight. But well, it's got the steering wheel controls of the factory. I got those little CAN bus adapters that you can get for them, but somehow it didn't work for me. And later on I discovered that they're making like there's a difference between getting a CAN bus adapter for this particular model, the Fiat Croma, which has the factory radio, and the one which has the factory radio navigation. And those with the radio navigations don't work with those CAN bus adapters. So that's one thing to make sure that you have the other version of the car. But obviously I just solved it by putting this little thing on here, which is very handy. I can control it with my thumb, because most of the time I'm like touching the steering wheel like that, and if I want to change the volume I go like this, which is very handy. Well, you've got also your reverse, forward, play, pause, mute, unmute, and this one's for the Google Assistant or for your speech. So yeah, that's a great thing. Back to the ATOTO S8 Ultra. Furthermore, it's got 4 USB devices, if I can recall correctly. And actually 2 are occupied in this car. I'm using one for the DAB Plus adapter that I got from my previous Android head unit, and the antenna, the DAB antenna, is over there on the top. So the wire goes like this under the dash and it goes to the back of the head unit. Well, I've put the USB DAB is over here, so the antenna is somewhere over there near the footwell. Then I've got here in my glove box 2 USB. One is, let me see, oh. So yeah, this one is used for CarPlay, Android Auto, the wired CarPlay, Android Auto, and this one I can use for external storage, another USB stick or anything like that. Then you've got the quick charge option for your telephone, which is also somewhere down here. I've run a wire through under the dash and it comes out here, which I've connected my little lightning connector since I'm using an iPhone, which is very handy, works very well. I mean, my phone charges quite instantly, so like if I put it on while it's still at 60% and I drive around for maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes, and it's already on 85%. So it's like very quick and it's working very well. The quick charge option was also on the A6 Pro, but I guess this is a more advanced version of it. I think the old one was QC2 and this one's QC3. So that's working a lot faster, more efficient. So let's turn on the unit and explore the various features that it has. And I'm gonna put it, there it is, boots right up. I'm gonna put it on mute, or else it will play music. So I've got it to run the DAB app straight away when I'm booting up the device. As you can see, it actually boots up instantly. That's the great thing of it. It's got a power saving mode, a fast boot mode, so when I turn it on, it immediately boots up and it runs all the apps that I'm using, like this DAB app. This particular app is the DAB-Z app, which is a better version of the DAB app. I've uninstalled the stock DAB app because I didn't like it. It didn't work well. This one does, so that's great. So let's go to the home screen. So this button brings me to the home screen, which pretty much looks like this. I've kept it quite stock. Well, actually, when you boot it up for the first time, you get to see the music widget and then the apps over here. I just swapped the two screens over. But anyway, you've got your radio widget, you've got your music widget, well, you've got your phone, your radio. I've installed Spotify via the Play Store, which is actually the great thing about those Android head units, that you can connect to the the Google Play Store, install all your apps like you would on a tablet. It's actually just a car tablet. Over here, you've got all your apps, and you can access to your widgets, so that's working great. This is the navigation shortcut. I've just configured to run Sejic or Sygic, so let's have a quick look to it. Yeah, there it boots up quite fast. Well, it's booting quite faster than it used to on the A6. On the A6, I think average of booting app booting time, let's say, is about 15 to 20 seconds. I actually did a stopwatch test with Spotify, and it would boot it in between 20 and 30 seconds. And this one does it under, I think, 10 seconds, and it's already booting up. Well, now I can show it. So if I do Spotify, you know, it boots up instantly. And first you would be looking at for 20 seconds to that screen before it finally would boot. But here you are, there it is, Spotify, just working great. So yeah, that's working awesome. Well, the music app, but let me first go to the Bluetooth app, which is also very interesting. So as you can see, you've got your number dialing, your dial. Well, You can access to your contacts. This is your Bluetooth streaming A2DP mode. So if I were to listen music that I would stream from my phone to the ATOTO head unit, I need to go to this little app that's within the Bluetooth app. Well, this all here. You can see all the paired devices, but if you would hit scan and there would be other Bluetooth devices nearby, it would show them over here at the available devices. And here are, you know, the device name, auto answer, I have that off, Bluetooth reset, Bluetooth firmware update, contacts, the people who called, and the people you called. So that's the Bluetooth app. Just very simple, but it works great. It's just awesome. And if I'm talking to people, you could use the integrated mic, which works very well. At least I remember from the A6 Pro at the beginning, I didn't have my external mic yet hooked up, so I used a couple of times the internal mic, which works very great. I don't remember if you have mic gain options. I know on the A6 Pro you had them. You had to access them via a certain command in the system settings, but I can't remember if it's working on this one. At least I haven't figured it out. So I've got my external mic up here. It's running like that under the dashboard, and it gets to the back of the unit. So yeah, music app, just very simple. I think it's improved over the one of the A6 Pro because well, you've got all your now playing. Here you can see what's all the music that's on the device. This is specifically for the SD device, my favorites, internal storage. Well, as you can see, it's loading up all the music that I have. So this is searching by folder. This is search by artist, search by album, and this is, I think, just the whole list. But I'm gonna put it on folder because at least it retains the following of the songs. So yeah, that's the music app. Just very simple, working great. Then you've got your easy connection to mirror your phone display on the ATOTO. You've got your equalizer, which is great. It's very much improved over the old one in terms of options. You can do so much more with it. Well, front, right, left, rear, right, left, your loudness, you can put it on default any time you want. And I haven't looked up to everything. Time correction, I don't know exactly what that's doing. Your bass boost, your sound field, so if you want to have it more in the front, you can put it over there. And then you've got already some presets. Well, I actually always have it on all because it's then in the center position, and you get like the best in terms of surrounding of the music. You get the best result, I think. Bass filter on different frequencies, and also on position of the car, so this is saying front and rear. And also you've got the button to put everything back to default should you maybe not be very happy about your settings. So let's go back to the home screen. Well, up here you've got your typical Android controls. So this is to go back, for example, if you're in an app. This is to go back to the home screen, and this is to switch between the different apps. So you can see these are all your apps, and if you press on here, it will shut them off all at once. What's great about it is if, for example, I'm playing radio, and at the same time I want to use my navigation. So let's go back to Sigic. It probably needs to boot up again, yes, because I've shut it down earlier on. So yeah, if, for example, I want to control my radio, I can long press the apps button, and we will do split screen, which is awesome. For example, the GPS test app. so it will run 2 apps at the same time, which is very handy, especially if you're like me, switching every time between the music you want to listen. This is a very handy app, and you know, it just keeps you focused on the road instead of just, you know, going back and forth and playing around with the device. I want to talk about the GPS antenna, which is at the back. I actually routed it from the back to somewhere under here, and I put it on a metal piece of frame of the car, and then, as you can see, it's actually getting very good signal. I mean, we're here on an open, well, we're here out in the open, so obviously it's got the best reception. But even when I'm just in town or whatever, it always gets 2 meter to even sometimes 1 meter accuracy, and you can see that it's finding a lot of antennas. So the signal is very good. It's just very awesome. And one of the things that I really like are the gesture controls. So you can see there are a lot of options to use with it. If you, for example, I've set it up that if I circle clockwise, it does volume up. Oh. And if I circle counterclockwise, it will turn the volume down. Now, I mean, there are a lot of other options, but I've blanked them off because, and that's one of the little cons, the little niggles of the device, is that sometimes I don't know, you're driving and you need something on the screen. Sometimes it does an action. So, like, for example, I would be like doing maybe this. And yeah, there it is, and then it would bring up randomly the EQ, so that was a bit irritating, so I've turned that off. But yeah, it's a great it's a funny little gadget on it. It does work once you get your way around it. For the volume, I tend to use the little steering wheel control, but sometimes, you know, if I've got my hand over here, I tend to do like this. And then you get your sound right. So that's the gesture setup, just working very good. I like it. Then yeah, one of the big things of the S8 Ultra is that you're able to use wireless CarPlay. So with other Android head units, including the A6 Pro, you needed to get a separate dongle, which you needed to connect to your USB. And then on that USB dongle, you would be connecting your device to. With the S8 Ultra, it's all integrated, which means I just needed my Apple cable to connect it, and then I do that to this cable where it says phone link. This one's dedicated to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then it would just launch via Z-Link, which is the app to run CarPlay on. With wireless CarPlay, it's also very simple. So you connect your phone to Bluetooth, and then when you run Z-Link, it will show a hotspot on your phone, which you connect to, and then the connection to CarPlay is established. So it will just run straight on your Apple CarPlay. So that's just one great thing about it. You don't need extra dongles and devices to get CarPlay going. It's just a native CarPlay, and it's just working fine. So Android Auto is just working by wire. You cannot get it wireless. But yeah, I'm an Apple user anyway, so for me, using the Wi-Fi CarPlay is just a treat. Going to settings. Oh yeah, well, I wanted to show you, actually, you're able to watch Netflix on the device. I do not recommend it while driving, but yeah, it is possible. So let's get back to settings. So you've got your Wi-Fi options. This device also got a 4G SIM card port, which is at the back. So I would need to remove this and then get to the back to insert the 4G SIM card. I don't know if I need it. Maybe I'll try it out sometimes, because yeah, if I want internet, I'm tethering my mobile internet to the device, from my phone to the device. So, but it's a fun thing to have. Let's see here under more. Yeah, you've got your mobile network, and you can also set up the ATOTO as a hotspot for other devices if you want to. So here you've got your general settings, device settings. So you've got your display settings, wallpaper, auto black screen, so that if you're not using in a short period of inactivity, it will turn black. And here, up here, you've got this little sun thingy, and that's to control the brightness of the device. The screen itself is actually great, I have to say. It's just very crisp, very clear, and I do not get a lot of glare. Even when it's very sunny, I can still read clearly what's on the device. So that's a big advantage over the old Android head units that I used to have. The A6 Pro was great as well. It was working very fine. If we go back to the settings, so device options, display, sound, location status, your Bluetooth 2. So you've got Bluetooth 1 and you've got Bluetooth 2. Bluetooth 1 is for your phone connection, and Bluetooth 2 is for other Bluetooth devices, for example a keyboard, a wireless mouse, or a game controller if you want to play games, which is possible on this. Then you've got your storage, your app settings, and well, Android users will recognize this. Well, your general settings. So here it is: disable video playback while in motion. So I will say it another time, I do not recommend to watch Netflix or YouTube or whatever video while you're driving. Just stay focused on the road. You can let your navigation auto start every time your device boots. Display on-screen device time, OSD time, which means if you're in the video player, you can actually see what time it is. Just a small little thing. And I think it's also for the rear view camera. I haven't hooked it up yet, but it will show the time. These are all the settings for the rear view camera, which I don't have. And I think this one's, well, what I read in the manual, this static reference line is actually a Volkswagen specific feature. So anyway, here you can enable, disable the touch gesture switch. You can have your media volume stay at a default level every time you start the ATOTO. As you can see, I've turned it off. And this would be then the volume value every time you would start. Audio mix for Navi and media. So if you're listening to your DAB or Spotify or whatever, and you've got your navigation on, that it will dim the sound a little bit so you can hear the navigation instructions. Which is actually very handy, because Cyjig uses the TTS, Google Text-to-Speech voice, and it can be a bit, I don't know, it can be a bit down in volume sometimes, like you really have to struggle to hear what she's actually saying. But yeah, thanks to this option, it's already better, it's already improved. Audio mute while reversing. So if you're reversing, it will mute the audio. And this is media volume down. That's actually the rate in which the volume will be dimmed when you're reversing. Panel illumination. So you cannot see it very well, but it's actually matching the display of the car. It's a bit orange-like. Don't know if you can see it here. But yeah, On the old ATOTO you only had your presets, but actually on this one you can like customize it all to your own taste. But you could also like have a loop, so it will show every color of the rainbow here on your buttons. So let's go back. Setup for your steering wheel controls, but I don't need that one because I already have my device here on my steering wheel, but I will show it how it looks. It just looks like this, and it says literally press and hold a button for steering wheel to start learning, matching, etc. So you touch that, and for example, if I would have the canvas working, I would press volume up, I would match it with the volume up there. So that's the steering wheel controls. Well, what I did, specify navigation app, so it works with the navigation shortcut that I have on my home screen. So as you can see, it's working with SideJig. Users and accounts, so your location settings, your security settings, language and input. I actually went to language and input and then under advanced to amplify my text-to-speech output level. So, well, here you got your text-to-speech option, then you go over here and I did amplify speech volume. It used to be under the accessibility options on the A6 Pro, but they've changed it. So now you have to find it under languages and input, which is here under the users and account settings. So here you got your Google settings, system reset. You've got multiple options. You can only reset your Wi-Fi, mobile and Bluetooth if you have any connection issues. Erase all data, also known as the factory reset, or just clear the application data. And this is your Google account. So here are your Google account settings. Here you can set up your account when you first start the device. Then we've got the system settings, your date and time. This is the accessibility option that I was talking about earlier on. And I used to change my text-to-speech output settings in this menu, but it's moved, or it's just accessible through languages and input, which is in the previous tab. Screen lock. So for example, if I would leave my car at the garage for maintenance and I don't want them to access my radio, I can install a screen lock just like you would on your tablet or on your phone. About device, it tells all the diagnostics. So as you can see, it's running, I didn't even tell that, but it's working on Android 8.1 Oreo. And it's actually a modified version. I mean modified in the sense that it's actually made for the device. So with a lot of those Android units, you get actually quite a vanilla legacy Android version. But this one has been specified, specifically made for the device. So it's actually optimized for the device in terms of hardware, software connections, to say like that. And then, well, the ATOTO S8 is using the Intel octa-core 1.8 Airmont processor. It's got 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of ROM. So 4 GB of memory and 64 GB of storage. And you can do a system update, but it's already saying please contact ATOTO customer support via email or visit the site of ATOTO for system update, firmware and its instruction. So I guess that's about it. Oh no, hang on. Another cool feature that wasn't on the old A6 Pro was that when you booted the device, it would just say ATOTO, and then you would get like the spinning Google thingy. But now you can actually put on the logo of the car you're driving. So I've put Fiat because, well, obviously I'm driving a Fiat here, which is it's just those little things that make it just more pleasant to use. Let me see. Just gonna shut down everything like that. So we're back on the home screen. Well, the typical Android buttons, screen brightness. This one controls my Siri or my Google Assistant of my phone. So not of the device, not of the ATOTO, but of the telephone. So if I press that, it will bring up Siri on my iPhone. And this is the status, connection status of my phone. So this is signal strength, this is the battery, how much is left of my phone, Bluetooth connection. Well, obviously here it's showing volume of the device. And this is saying that I've got an SD card hooked up. So yeah, I guess that's it. It's quite a great upgrade over the A6 Pro, I think. I really like it. I mean, I like my A6 Pro, but one of the disadvantages was that it was just so slow at booting. And I mean, it was running an older version of Android. I mean, it was on Android 6, and a lot of those Android head units start at Android 8, 8.1, and you even got Android 10 by now on those devices. So yeah, it was like terribly slow. It was getting old, and I think they launched the S8 Ultra at a great time, because you get a lot of value for money with these devices. They're working great, they're awesome, they're customizable, which is why I picked this one. And it's just working very fluid thanks to the processor, but also because of the RAM. The A6 Pro had a quad-core processor. This is an octa-core. I had 2 GB on the A6, this one's got 4 GB, etc. So it's a massive upgrade to the A6 Pro, which already was a great device, and this is doing it even better. Of course, there are some little small niggles. I mean, it would be better if you could, you know, like customize more. You could customize the settings a bit more, or go deep into the Android settings. Granted, this is an device-specific version of Android, so you don't get all of the options that you would get like the Android on your tablet, for instance. I mean, I'm missing my developer options. I went to About Device and I could tap it, and then it would say you're already a developer, but I can't find the options to access. I know that there are a couple of apps so I can access them as well, but you know, it's something that yeah, wasn't needed. But anyway, I'm very happy with it. I would deadly recommend it to everyone. I think this is one of the best Android devices that you can get for your car. There are other brands which are very good. I mean, I used to have a PX5 Android device by Xtrons, which worked very well. It even had Android 9. But yeah, this one it just does the best for me. And even the radio is working very well on the Xtrons PX5. I regularly would have like very bad FM reception, and I also had put a radio antenna amplifier, but it still wouldn't get the job done. And this one just works brilliantly. So yeah, it was a long search to find the best Android device, but I think I finally found it. Ladies and gentlemen, the ATOTO S8 Ultra. So if you have questions or you want to know anything more about it, please let me know. I will be checking regularly on this video, and maybe next time I will do something about, maybe I'll show the wireless CarPlay in detail. So thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.